Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.
Greetings. Welcome to episode 126 of 15 Minutes of Genius. We're on our way to like 200. We're going to be like, just at 250, 300, 1,000 might be in 2025, but we'll get there. So, this is exciting. We're definitely getting up there in numbers, but it's not about the numbers. It's about the quality over quantity. It's the people that we bring on. That was a great segue. Entrepreneurs, visionaries, speakers that travel the country or do it all on their computer through Zoom, investors and everyone. And also bar founders, like bars, not a bar you go to drink, but a bar that you can eat. And that's this guy, and this bar is awesome, and he is all over LinkedIn and all over the world with his bar. So really excited to get into his story. Before rolling into our guest, I'd like to give a big plug to Mark Nicholas, Mark N at ManhattanBeachStudios.net. There he is. He is actually in a van, not down by the river. That's the second time I've said that today. I can't resist. But Mark, you should actually do that. I'm in a van. And like Chris Farley, I'm in a van, not down by the river. Anyway, big Chris Farley fan here. All right, so make sure to reach out to him, Mark N, ManhattanBeachStudios.net. He is your guy for if you want to do podcasts, you want to do video, audio. He can build your stories for Instagram. These are new things he's getting into. He has all the creatives, all the tools to do it. Make sure to reach out to him. We're working with him on several projects. Couldn't be happier. So make sure to reach out. All right, so our guest, without further ado, ironically, his name is Jim Simon, and the company is called JiMMYBAR. So he doesn't call himself Jimmy. He calls himself Jim, which I already love that story just out the gate. Hailing out of Chicago, he's actually, the company's based in Chicago. He's in Scottsdale. A little bit about JiMMYBAR. JiMMYBAR is a female co-founded family company, and they're a creator of bars with benefits, meaning high protein, low sugar, great tasting bars with functional ingredients like MCT oil, collagen, turmeric, plant-based caffeine, and keto-friendly nuts. In a crowded category, JiMMYBAR is the recognized leader in functional snacks and has built a company that is on-trend, fun, innovative, and meaningful. Jim, how are you?
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I think we're kindred spirits just being in this industry. And Jim and I literally spoke because we usually have like a pre-production where we're just getting the lighting right, getting the cameras right. And Jim and I spoke for literally 20 to 25 minutes. It just went by really fast, but like almost 25 minutes, just talking about war stories and product. And love talking with you, man. You're great.
You too. I love your brand. And CPG is, there's some highs and some real lows.
Very big highs. It's not only lows, but underground, like 6 feet under.
Well, I'll tell you a quick funny story. COVID happens and my wife and I, who we're living in Chicago because we're Chicago based, my in-laws live in Beaver Creek and they live in the mountains, and we're like, well, let's just go to Beaver Creek, and Chicago's, it's cold in the winter and there's some other, some crime issues and stuff like that. We're like, let's just, go there because retailers aren't seeing us anyway, face to face. We're doing everything over Zoom, but you'll appreciate this. So we're there for like 6 months. We're having a great time. And then I'm like, let's go to Scottsdale because I lived here in my 90s. I lived here in the 90s when I'm in my 20s. And
those bars must be really freaking good if you're in your 90s. That's very beneficial.
Live here in my 90s. I got a U-Haul. We're loading all our crap up, right? We got the U-Haul in there. I can't get the U-Haul out of our garage, in Beaver Creek. And it took literally 2 hours, and we had to call security at the complex to help us. And my mother-in-law said, God, that looks so hard. And you have to back up, go forward, because you got the tow thing on it, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, Pam, that's what being an entrepreneur is. Every day, it's getting the U-Haul out of the freaking garage when you don't really know what you're doing. You make it up as you go along. And that's being an entrepreneur. Constant problem solving.
Amen. Yeah, very well said. That's a very strong metaphor. I heard, an entrepreneur say once, we're building the plane while we're flying it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
literally like it's flying, it's taking off in the air. Where if something is wrong with the plane, it could crash, and you're like literally figuring out and building it, and it's just there's a lot of metaphors, but at the end of the day, bottom line, it's freaking hard. It's really,
It is
really
hard.
hard, and
In
not for
in
the yeah,
CPG, food and drink are. It's not like this is the sixth business I've started or have run. It's not the hardest. I mean, it doesn't take the intellectual horsepower that if you're running a software company or
right.
you're in a visionary, but it is definitely the most painful. It's blocking, and you're an offensive lineman. You're just getting smashed every day. So it's definitely the most painful, and it's a grind. But when you start building your brand and you start getting some traction like you have and I have, and brands bigger than us, then you're like, God, this is cool.
Exactly. There's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully that light is not a freight train coming at you.
Yeah, that could be true too.
Yeah. And what's interesting, another thing I'll share is that on LinkedIn, which we all know and love, and this is where that's our home for this podcast, where we debut it. Both Jim and I are celebrating eight years running our businesses. 8 years. Let's both do it together. There we go. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!
What the hell are we thinking about?
Yeah, I don't. Where the frick did the time go? I thought like it was like 5 days ago I was getting this product tested to put on the market, and 8 years later, it's like a time warp. But it's cool that we've made a lot of progress, as you said. So let's get into that. So
Cool.
where is JiMMYBAR at now? Status, traction, stores, product lines. Give us a lowdown on everything.
So thank you. Currently about 13,000 stores, and we're kind of channel agnostic. So, we took a very atypical approach to channel strategy, for any entrepreneur watching this, where 99% of, if you're a healthy food company, you go into Whole Foods, you go into Sprouts, you go into Costco, or at least you really try to get into those three. Those are the big three. Maybe Starbucks too, if you can get in. For us, me coming into this business, in my, I guess, late 40s, having, most of my life in technology, not understanding what a broker is, not working with distributors, not even knowing what slotting fees are and, chargebacks and all that kind of fun stuff. I called on my, local chain in Chicago, which is Jewel, and they were telling me about slotting fees. And I grabbed my calculator. I'm like, there's just no way I'm going to make money. So my go-to-market year 1 to 3, almost 1 to 4 was food service. And it was specifically corporate pantry services like Facebook, Uber, Oracle, Intel, like those guys going in there and, talking to Canteen or talking to whoever ran their pantry service and getting in there. And then I pivoted into C-Store and some of the other channels. So we took a typical approach, but right now we're in 13,000 stores in 6 countries, which is fun. Some of the, like Austria, I didn't even know they're still a country, but we're there. And Australia, well, it's always Germany, then it's Austria, then it's Germany. There's, they change. So in Australia, we're in every Costco and we sell really well. I've never been there. I really want to go there. But we're getting traction. We're going to 400 Sam's Clubs.
Nice.
We're
Nice.
in a handful of Walmarts right now for a test. We do really well in C stores. Everyone is a little bit different than the other one. You got to be able to sell to all different kind of stores and personalities. But we feel like we're in a good place. COVID has been really bad for healthy foods, as we all know, right? Because people are grabbing pizza and wine and beer and
Yep.
chips during COVID.
Something that gives you pleasure right away, right? Just kind of these immediate
You drink
pleasure.
a glass of wine, you feel good in 10 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Protein bars, you do eat when you're on the go, just like your juice. It's an on the go food for healthier people.
Yep.
All the gyms were closed a year ago, so no one's working out. Maybe they're on their Peloton, but they're definitely not going to the office, which was a big part of the business. C-Store was our biggest channel, believe it or not, in 2020. So that went down. So it caused us to stop and think about, okay, what are we going to do? So in March hits 2020, I paused all advertising. We spent a fair amount on Facebook and Google and so on. I paused everything, and We had to say goodbye to probably half our team. And I said, we're just going freaking lean. And we got very scrappy, very innovative, and we've really done well. We tripled this year, from 21 to 22, we tripled in sales and are profitable, which is unusual. And
very unusual in this business.
2020 was pretty decent too. We were down a little bit sales wise, but we were profitable in 2020 also. So it's caused us to get kind of tough. It's COVID is definitely standing in the center of the ring in a boxing match and going toe to toe and throwing fists. And that's kind of what we did. And we've been very, very fortunate where we've come out better than we went in.
It's great. And I think, it's all about, and entrepreneurs watching the show, right, is what this is more than just PR, right? Obviously, we want people to know about JiMMYBAR, but it's also Jim sharing, your experiences and what you did and how you pivoted and how you adapted. And I think that's a really key story where you literally you cut your staff in half because you had to, right, to survive and grow. You reposition the money towards growth, maybe in marketing or production and innovation, right? And getting into the right stores, right? The stores that mattered, they're going to get more velocity and they're going to sell your product and it's going to build your brand. So I think that's a great example of how you're not afraid to change and do major pivots so the company stays alive and can grow. And obviously, you achieved two big things. Number one, you tripled. Number two, you're profitable. So I think that means you made the right decisions on the bottom line.
But it doesn't mean I don't second guess myself hourly. And it doesn't mean that, my wife, I got married late in life. I got married when I was a couple months shy of 50. And so my wife is sort of new, actually she works for the company. We are truly a family business, which I suggest to anybody. I know everyone says it's really, awful running a family business. Who do you trust more in your family?
Exactly.
So my wife works for the company. My sister's my co-founder, my brother-in-law, we got family all over the place. And, I'll be pacing back and forth at 3 a.m. And she'll be, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I'm just worried. I always worry about cash in the bank and sales, those two big things. I really don't worry about the product. I think our product rocks, but I worry about cash in the bank and sales. And if we have like a down day or a down week in sales, I'm like, oh, damn, we're in trouble. I get dark. She's like, Jim, we're fine. Don't worry about it. So it's, it's that constant high, low, where 1 second, you're thinking, oh, Genius Juice is going to be the next thing. I mean, we're kicking ass. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh man, I might have to get my job back at Olive Garden, busting tables. So it's like, it's
that's where I actually worked before Genius Juice. I'm just screwing with you.
Well, I always joke with my wife. I said, worst comes to worst, I was a hell of a busboy, in high school. And I can go back and I actually liked it.
Exactly. Hey, delivering pizzas. I mean, one of our investors.
Best job in the world.
One of our investors owns many Papa John's, and it's funny when he invested, I'm like, look, we succeed, great, but if we don't, I can work for you and deliver pizzas.
It's true, and that's how you have to think. Also, I mean, it's I always go to worst case scenario, and I'm like, I'm a sales guy, so I can, and I'm self motivated. So, if I'm selling bug spray, I'm going to work really hard because I like to. Yeah. So worst comes to worst, I'll do whatever. I guess I'll be a sales guy. I would be perfectly fine with it. But you have to be an optimist. If you're naturally a pessimist, work for a big company because this isn't for you. You have to. It's solving problems every day. I was pitching my niece. I've got 9 nieces and nephews. She wants to start a company, and I said, you got to be positive and you got to sell. And I always. There are CEOs who are product people. There are CEOs who are engineers. There are CEOs who are operators. It always helps if you know how to sell.
Exactly.
And you like it.
It is literally, it's like the foundation. And usually the most successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, people like Steve Jobs, they know how he knew, and CEOs know how to speak and inspire people, get people really excited about the product. Elon Musk is a mystery to me because he's very socially awkward, but he's just incredibly smart, does a great team around him. So, but let's get back on subject about your product. Now, Being in sales, let's talk about your product. I just want people to know what it is.
Yeah.
No major explanation, maybe an elevator. Let's say an elevator that goes up 40 floors. Let's call it a minute, minute and a half. Tell us about your different lines. You also released a keto pudding line, and there's a lot of things going on I see on LinkedIn. So tell us about your product line and the benefits.
All right. We'll start on the first floor. We'll go to the 99th here on an elevator pitch. So in a really crowded, popular category that is bars, like wine, like beer, like whatever, where we fit in is, and our kind of cheeky take on friends with benefits is bars with benefits, right? So every bar has a specific purpose. So if you're looking at the first two here, keto, obviously people are on the keto diet for energy and to lose weight. The middle bar, Eye of the Tiger, which is a licensing deal we did with the guy who wrote Eye of the Tiger, Jim Peterick with the band Survivor. It's a great guy. That has turmeric and that has plant-based caffeine called guarana seed. So it kind of jacks you up energy-wise, and then the turmeric for recovery. The next bar, chocolate peanut butter, strictly a protein bar for energy. And then Wake and Focus to the right is a bar that has MCT oil and omega-3s for brain health, as well as the guarana seed caffeine that gives you a nice perky buzz. And the one to the right that you can barely see is called our Immune Bar, which we created mid-COVID. You'll appreciate this. From idea to bar selling on Shopify, 7 weeks, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's the joys of being vertically integrated. You know, we
You have your own
ourselves.
you have your own manufacturer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that
Yeah.
helps. Yeah, because
Yeah.
if it was a co-packer, it would take 7 weeks literally just to schedule, like to try to schedule a run.
Oh, if you're lucky, and then
If
they
you're lucky.
jack you in price, and then you have to go through all the R&D. Yeah,
Right.
we went through 5 co-packers in 4 years, and my sister, who is a classically trained chef, my partner, and a restaurateur for 27 years, she's like, Jim, making bars isn't that hard. You get a machine, it smushes it down, cuts it, slits it. We'll do it ourselves. So that's what we do.
Very cool. So you have the bar line, and then talk to us about the keto pudding, because that's very interesting.
So people eat for purpose now, and it goes beyond like, people drink your juice. They need something healthy. They want energy. They want to feel good. It makes them feel better, right? People take CBD because they want to sleep or they want to mellow out. So people eat with purpose. It's purpose-driven eating, and food is medicine. I heard you on the previous interview, which was terrific. So for us, everything has a purpose, right? It tastes really good. But with the keto pudding, I've been on and off the keto diet 3 times now. It's a great diet. It's actually a great lifestyle. But the things you miss are pizza, booze, and sweets, because you can't have any of them, right? Because you're eating a whole lot of protein. So I was like, this is like mid-COVID, and I'm walking around in Colorado, a Costco, and then I went to a couple grocery chains. And I said, I told my wife, I'm like, I want to do something no one's ever done before. Bars are great, and our positioning is great, functional snacks. But I want to do something outside of bars because I want to be something more than just another bar company. But I want to pick a category that hasn't seen any innovation in 50 years. And she's like, wow, that's kind of tough. I'm like, well, let's go check it out. So we're walking down Costco. I stumble across the pudding aisle. I love pudding. But pudding, people don't eat pudding like they used to because they went to yogurt because yogurt's healthier. Mm-hmm. And the pudding, the shelf-stable pudding that's out there now is, it tastes amazing, but it's sugar.
It's crap.
It's crap, yeah. And so I'm like, shit, what about like a healthy pudding? And my wife's like, that's kind of a cool idea. And so my sister, who's an amazing chef, so she creates a keto pudding. It's not shelf-stable. We have these great partners that are basically our outsourced lab for food science. Mm-hmm. And we create this keto pudding that freaking rocks. And it tastes, shelf stable, but I eat it frozen. Like I put it in the freezer. It's amazing. And it solves a big problem. Just like your brand solves a problem. This is a problem. And that is when you're on the keto diet, you can't really eat sweets. There's keto ice cream. Some of it's good, some of it's not. There's keto bars. Most aren't good. JiMMYBAR's is. But it solves that problem. So it's been, an amazing, we just launched in October and it's doing so well. It's the top trending keto dessert on Amazon, which is super cool.
Where did you launch? We're going to take it out. Which retailers did you launch the pudding in?
Well,
or is it all Amazon?
We haven't yet. So we're launching in your backyard, Bristol Farms. We wanted to sort of beta it. Yeah, I dig those guys.
Lazy Acres, getting in there too.
talking to them, talking to them. So we're hitting up kind of the boutique-y, cool, upscale, and then we're talking to Central Market in Texas and Mariano's in our backyard, like kind of the the natural guys. And then we're also parallel pathing. We're talking to Costco. We're talking to Costco Australia. We're talking to Walmart. So we're sort of casting a broad net. But I took it. I'm super impatient. I'll like be at a Walgreens, and if there are two people in front of me, I'll leave just because like I'm just horribly ADD. So putting this one, I actually was patient. I'm kind of amazed. And
so, yeah, and this is this wasn't 7 weeks. Was this 9 weeks for the pudding? I'm just making a joke.
You know what? The idea I didn't even tell my board. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And I just think we're onto something cool. And I eventually sent samples to my board, and they're very cool. And they're like, I like it, man. I like it. I said, well, there's been no innovation in pudding since like Snack Pack stopped with
like
the metal,
right? Yeah.
Well, remember when you're a kid, you take the Snack Pack thing off, and all the kids would lick the pudding, Bob, and slice off their tongues. And right. I think they stopped doing the slice off. But yeah, there's been no innovation. So it's kind of fun creating your own category. Mm-hmm. But we said Shopify, Amazon is killing it on both. And now we're going to retailers. And the funny thing is, when you create a new product, like this is a weird category. It's not, I can't go next to Snack Pack because I'm going to be 7 times more expensive. It's a different consumer. So we're going more into weight management. Which is a much better place, near Slim Fast and the other companies that focus on, weight control. So that's, I think, where we're going to find a lot of success this year.
And last question on the pudding. Are there any other, it's keto, obviously low sugar. What are some of and there's weight management. Are there any benefits within the pudding, such as protein or anything else to boost you?
Yeah, it's ridiculously high in fiber. And I was talking to a doctor friend of mine. It's got 19 grams of fiber.
19 grams. How does it have so much fiber in it?
Tapioca fiber. We use tapioca fiber and a couple other things, but it's loaded with fiber. Wow. And I was asking a doctor friend, I said, is there ever like a point where there's too much fiber? He goes, no. He's like, fiber is your ally. So super high in fiber, high in protein. I think we have 9 grams of protein. 0 added sugar and only 5 net carbs. It's just, I'll send you samples. Actually, I'll next year samples.
I would love to try it, and then once I try the samples, you'll see the sales pop at the Rancho Palos Verdes Bristol Farms, which is the closest one to my home. You'd be like, why is that off the freaking charts? Because I got my entire family hooked on it. My dad.
Well, send me your address when you're done.
Absolutely, and my parents love pudding. Like they used to like put it in the fridge, they would like make it in the stovetop and then put it in the fridge. And I'd be so impatient, just like you standing in line is like me standing in front of the fridge. I'm like, why the frick is this taking so long? Like, isn't there a technology?
Do you remember that pudding where it has that weird skin on it? Like, you sort of pierce the.
Yeah, you have to pierce the top. Yeah. That's those were the days, the glory days when I was 10. So so going into it, because we're running out of time, just in a minute or two.
Yep.
On the show, we obviously talk about the successes, but also the failures or the challenges. I like to call them more challenges and failures because you only fail if you quit. That's my perspective on it. But there's learnings where you fail, I guess, or you don't succeed, and then you learn, and you can parlay that into a success, right? Can you tell us about just one key? We got to keep it short because of time, but one key just challenge and learning that you had in the business in your 8 years running JiMMYBAR?
I mean, we've had a lot, but I think the biggest one was co-packing, and that is, we came to the conclusion that if you don't, most companies don't co-pack for themselves, and for the non-CPG people watching this, it means do you manufacture your product? So we did not manufacture JiMMYBARs. We had other companies manufacture, which is really common. Mostly my decision because I'm a sales guy. So I'm like, let's just sell and, we'll hire a company to actually make the product. But what happened was, we had some tough relationships on the co-packing side, and we decided if we don't control the product, one of our co-packers was 17 weeks late with an order, almost put us
Jeez.
out of business. I mean, yeah, it's crazy, right? But that stuff happens all the time. And so we just had an epiphany. We're like, if we don't start our own co-packer right now, and if we don't buy our own ingredients, because, co-packers mark up the ingredients, as we all know, if you don't control your own supply chain, what do you have? You don't really have anything, So you got to control your supply chain. I want to know the nut manufacturers. I mean, we're almost to the point probably in the next year where we might start contracting directly with farmers, which would be super cool.
Yeah.
Like, you got to control everything you possibly can. And this is coming from a guy who loves to outsource, but in CPG, like in-source, so for us, it was having a couple bad relationships in a row with co-packers and then saying, if we do not go out, rent our own space, raise a little money, buy our own machines, we're done. It's over. And with COVID, we would have been done. So that, I think, is like lesson 101, at least in my end of the business. Your end of the business, I know, is much more sophisticated with pasteurization and all that kind of stuff. But, ours is just take ingredients, smush it down, cut it up, wrap it up.
Yeah,
Sell it.
you make it sound very, very simple. I'm sure there's some science, like some things that go into it to make that bar consistent, but that's the salesmanship. You're like, you just smush it, cut it, done. So,
Oh, you should be on the calls with me and my sister. My sister, who runs our manufacturing plant, she's like, it's not just smushing it down. There's more to it. I'm like, just do it. We got a Sam's order coming up, and I'm like, we can make 500 pallets in a couple weeks, can't we? She's like, no. I'm like, can you work Sunday? She goes, why don't you work Sunday? So
that's so
we have
funny.
some fun conversations.
I can imagine the conversations where you drop a huge new order or customer ordering product, and she's like, my entire production planning and projections turned upside down because of one account, a major deal that Jim closed.
So her husband runs the plant with her, and he is
truly
off
family
the boat
business.
Italian.
Yeah,
he's Italian from Naples and a chef, and he goes zero to rip shit in about 5 seconds. And he and I have had some spirited conversations. He's like, I thought you want me to work on this Costco thing, and I'm like, yeah, but I just got another PO, and he's not on the sales side. He's like, I don't understand why you're getting all these POs. We have to fulfill this PO. I'm like, because that's how what we
got to
have
grow
to
the business, baby.
So it's a gentle balance, and it's also being respectful of other people. It never, we never get too aggressive on the phone. We always joke about it. But one of the nice things about having a family business is during COVID, literally you walk through our plant and it's niece's boyfriend's best buddy, uncle, aunt, sister. I mean, it's incredible, but it's pretty fun.
Love it. Great story. And one other thing I'll mention for those that are on LinkedIn, connect with Jim Simon, because once you connect with him and you start engaging and liking his posts, they'll start showing up on your feed. And it is truly amazing on the deals that Jim is closing, on the new accounts that he's getting into, on existing accounts, getting in new innovations. I've never seen.
Thank you.
You're an animal in a really good way. Like, you will go out there and sell, obviously, in great accounts where it's a great fit for your product. But I think you take the top prize for having the most posts on launches and new innovations.
Is that true? That's cool.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
It is impressive. And that's coming from a guy that posts a lot about launches and innovations.
You know how big our team is? The JiMMYBAR side of it, not the manufacturing.
I would say
five people.
I was going to guess 5 to 7. It shows you power in people, not just numbers. But if each person's doing a crucial task and they're great at it, and they can go between tasks and wear different hats, you don't need a lot of people to run a $10 million business. You really don't.
Not in our business. You really don't. And frankly, we scaled up at one point. We had marketing director and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, you got to sell. It's all about sales.
Yep, exactly. All right, we're going to go to our next segment, which is selling yourself on actually having great answers, and that's called rapid fire questions.
Bring it.
Rapid fire questions. All right, so this is a minute or less, and we're just going to ask you a bunch of different questions. First thing that pops in your brain, you say it. Maybe not the first
Got it.
thing, the second thing. The second thing.
Got it.
I'm just messing around. All right, so here we go. First question. For music, which decade is best, the 70s, 80s, or 90s?
90s.
What do you do for exercise?
I hike and I do MMA.
Love it. MMA. You got to get like that into. There's actually an MMA guy that lives in Orange County. I'll get you his information. He has like 100,000 followers. He would love this bar.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Would love it.
Movie you can watch an unlimited amount of times.
God, Gladiator.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Favorite country to travel to?
France.
Favorite Star Wars character?
You know what? I'm not a Star Wars guy. It sort of creeps me out. But I'm gonna go with who's the hairy guy? Chewie.
Chewie. Yeah.
Chewbacca. Yeah, I'm gonna go with
Chewbacca. Yeah. All right. What is your spirit animal?
him. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna say a cheetah.
That's exactly what it means. Fast, efficient.
Well, I have a Weimaraner who sort of looks like a dog version of a cheetah.
Ah, got it. Do you like to drive an SUV, a coupe, or a truck?
SUV.
For food, salty or sweet is an interesting one.
Always sweet. Keto
Favorite?
pudding.
It's a pudding, man. It's sweet. Favorite day of the week? I say that because with a lot of bars, like you get the salty sweet combination, which works really well. You know, like the Himalayan salt with a chocolate or vanilla or whatever. Yeah.
You'll appreciate this answer. You know, if you like what you do, you don't pray for the weekend. So I'm going to say Friday, because Friday you work your ass off till 5 or 6, and then you go on date night with your wife or your girlfriend, and you have a glass of wine and you have a great time. So I'd say Friday.
There you go. All right. So Uber or Lyft?
Lyft, kinder. They had a kinder founder.
Kinder found, yeah, and kinder people, to be honest. And
Yeah,
they
you
don't,
think?
and they don't smell as bad. You know, it's like the Adam Sandler song, like my Uber driver smells bad. Yeah. All right, Uber's. We're going to be getting a call from the Uber legal team here for defamation. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant, greatest of all time?
Oh, MJ. I'm a Chicagoan.
Boom. Terminator 1 or Terminator 2? Which one's better?
Terminator 1 was cooler, but Terminator 2 reminds me of when I lived in LA in 91 or 92, whenever it came out. And it was just such an amazing movie. I'm going to go with 2.
Yeah, like it was so nostalgic where they show, everything from, the freeways to the LA River to the malls. And it was like a total LA movie. I love it.
If you lived in LA at the time, you had to say, 2.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm born and raised in LA, and it's one of my favorite action movies of all time. It's amazing. Favorite food or drink? If you're stuck on a deserted island, you cannot say JiMMYBAR or the pudding, and you cannot say Genius Juice.
Well, yeah, I was going to say Genius Juice. If I'm stranded on an island, and I really don't care what I look like because there's no one else there, I'm eating ice cream. I'm eating ice cream. Hopefully, that place will have a refrigerated section. On the island, I'm eating ice cream pretty much all day.
Exactly. There's going to be a parrot at the register, and then there'll be like a monkey, like scooping it for you. So.
Oh yeah.
At a shack.
Ice cream all day. I could die on it.
Love it, man. That could be the next innovation, Jimmy Ice Cream. Keto.
We thought about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, man. So that is rapid fire questions with Jim Simon. Where's the applause? There it is.
It's a big crowd.
Big crowd. They're in the studio. You just can't see them right now. They're here.
Yeah.
They're all wearing masks and socially distanced.
Good for them.
Right on. So that is So Jim, awesome. Thank you for being on the show. Just been longtime fan and follower on LinkedIn. So glad we made this happen, man. And look forward to the samples. Look forward to getting it at Bristol Farms. If people want to buy JiMMYBAR, website.
JiMMYBars.com and Amazon, obviously, and then Sam's Club and Kroger, et cetera, et cetera. But thank you for having me. And I'm very impressed with what you guys have done with your brand because you're in a tough category just like we are. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you, man. And congrats on 8 years in the business.
Woo, what the hell are we thinking?
Yeah. What the hell are we thinking? Yeah. Woo. That's 8 years in the business. This is what you do. Woo. Woo!
Woo! Well, you know, I'll tell you what. Here's another little lesson to entrepreneurs: getting from 0 to 10 million or 0 to 5 million is a heck of a lot harder than going from 10 to 20.
Exactly.
So I hear.
It gets easier as you get bigger. Just like raising money, right? The first million, like, like a seed round, incredibly hard. Series A, hard. Once you get to like Series B and C, we haven't done that yet. I've heard it gets easier. Like it's interesting. The more money you raise, the easier it is to raise it. That's what I'm hearing.
Because you have a track record, and you know, I hit up friends, family, high school buddies, I was hitting up Uber drivers. You know, do you have 30 grand you want to invest in a protein bar company? Anybody?
Love it. Grinding it out, man. That's true grit. Love it, dude. I respect that. All right, man. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for joining us. Take care, Jim.
You got it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so that is episode 126 of 15 Minutes of Genius. Isn't that guy awesome? Like, awesome products, like, great personality. Love the stories he tells. Man, I love what I do. I love bringing on cool people and hearing their stories. All right, so big plug to Mark Nicholas, Mark N at ManhattanBeachStudios.net for all your editing desires, video, audio. He also can, on location, you know, if you're in LA and you got an activation, you got an event, a COVID-safe event, he can roll his van in and capture the entire thing and do great editing. Shout out to Nick, his assistant. I would say not only assistant, but literally not assistant. He's a partner. He's an employee. He works with them. He's great too. He's with Manhattan Beach Studios. They're an awesome team. Make sure to reach out to them. So, all right, 126 in the book. Also, make sure to catch us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for 15 Minutes of Genius. You can search that and you will find it. All right, so what is that? Can't remember. Oh, yeah, one last thing. Stay Jimmy and genius, my friends.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.